Welcome everybody
Awesome.
to a new feature on the channel. This is going to be a custom crisis protocol affiliation spotlight. Today we have Improv DM and she's going to be sharing her
Hello.
Avalanche. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sharing her Avalanche uh, affiliation from Final Fantasy VII.
Yep. It's the ones.
And so yeah, let's just jump right in. Let's start with the leaders.
Leaders. Okay, so Avalanche has two leaders. Sid and Barrett are the two leaders. Um, and I think we can just So Sid is our first leader. For people who know Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy in general, you know the name Sid. For Final Fantasy VII, you know him as the pilot who he runs the blimp that lets you travel the world. That's
Okay.
essentially his job. This blimp is called the Highwind. So Sid is his leadership is named the Highwind as such. He's the lancer of the group. So as such, he has a lot of place. He has not a lot, but he has place abilities and things that when he does placement.
Okay.
So his leadership was built off the back of Sin. I saw Sin's leadership and was like, how can I twist that? How can I make that different enough that it still works as a leadership but isn't a carbon copy?
Mm-hmm.
So I essentially did Sin's leadership, but backwards. So let's just read it out. During the cleanup phase, after scoring victory points, roll a die for each objective token not contested by an allied character. If the result is crit, wild, or hit, each allied character within 3 gets pushed small towards the objective. Then, roll a die for each allied character holding an asset token within 2 of an enemy character. If the result is crit, wild, or hit, place the allied character within 1 of its current position. So the idea behind this is you get into objectives, you get closer, and also you get away once people are sort of swarming you for having objectives in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of the theming and the idea behind the leadership. Because the Highwind's the blimp they use to get out of sticky situations.
Okay.
So, yeah. He's a 4-threat, 4/3/3/6. It's pretty solid health and defenses for a 4-threat. He has the ability to give his allies barrier tokens, which allow them to reduce attack dice when they're being targeted by attacks.
All right.
The main issue he has is gaining power. That's the thing that Sid doesn't do well. He gains his power a turn, and he can get 1 from Polar.
Yeah.
He doesn't gain a lot of power. And I think leadership 1 compensates for this, and I think there are some splashes, which we'll get to, that can help him out significantly when it comes to power gain.
Okay.
Because that's his problem, and you don't want your leader to just sort of crumple without his power. He's an interesting thing on him is dynamite. Whenever he is placed, he essentially acts like an explosion. So that's a nice way of just gaining some extra damage from what he just naturally should be doing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was noting that you should probably not be using the words enemy creature. So that's not an
Yes.
official term.
Apologies.
But yeah.
I write D&D monsters, so creatures is my common vocabulary.
I completely understand. Let's go ahead and check out your second leader.
Yeah, Barrett. Everyone knows Barrett is the guy with the gun arm, and that's because he is. He's super sick, but he's the guy with the gun arm. He's the leader of Sector 7's Avalanche crew, which is why I specifically made him the leader here. You'll notice that both our leaders have the same defensive stats and also the same threat. So you will have a 4-threat leader regardless of what situation you're in. They're just different types of situations.
And
Barrett,
with that small move, is he on a medium base?
He's on a medium base.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, small move, medium base, which means all of his stuff that require range are even larger. And also he's a big guy.
Yeah.
His leadership gives GR1 to your team, kind of. For anyone who's unaware, DR is referring to damage reduction. Whenever an allied character would suffer damage from an enemy effect, they expend the power to use this superpower, being the leadership. Reduce the amount suffered by one. The superpower can only be used once each turn. So it's very nice for like some of the squishier members of your team.
Yeah, I mean, a pretty
So
generic, universally useful ability.
Yeah, it's kind of like anyone who's under Barrett's leadership will benefit from this ability. There's no way to not, really. He has all of his range things. He's gonna be hitting from super far away. That's kind of his goal. If you get close enough to him, he has catastrophe, but that's not what he wants to be doing. What he wants to be doing is being far away, shooting with his gun arm so he can gain power, so he can use fire, or so he can use the damage reduction called cover, which I should probably change because cover exists in the game, so I should probably change that name. But the damage reduction ability called cover, which allows him to take damage for an ally and then reduce the amount of damage by 2 to a minimum of 1, so he can sort of... There's a way to allow him to help his friends other than just shooting things down. Right.
A bodyguard that gives him temporary damage reduction on that attack.
Yeah.
Up to 2 damage.
And it does cost more power than your average bodyguard. So it's because he likes like spend power on grenade bomb as well, because people are usually within range 4. Generally, he like a lot of the time he doesn't have power for cover, or if he does, people just shoot him instead. So like that's the thing is like a lot of bodyguards make it so that if they're gonna attack, they might as well attack you. That kind of sucks when it comes to Barrett's case. Yeah, they might as well attack you, and they will do more damage attacking you if they just do it. So, but he does still have it. So if someone's outside of range to hit him or something like that, it's a very useful ability.
Yeah, and some abilities are like that, where like the existence of that ability you don't use it as often necessarily, but it affects how your opponent has to take actions.
Yeah. Also, I think this is a good time to talk about just about every single one of the Avalanche characters has a materia ability. I think the only one who doesn't is Sid, actually. Has a materia ability. In Barrett's case, it is fire. You choose someone within range 4, you roll 4 dice. Crits and wilds deal damage, and if damage is dealt, they get the condition that's associated with it.
Oh, all right.
It can only affect one person per turn. Not one person per turn. A person can only be affected by it once a turn, I should say. You need power to do it, but that is a thing that is like every single one of these characters has something like that.
Okay.
Because it's and Sector 7 crew doesn't, because they don't usually use that. But it's like a thematic way to implement their effects that the materia give you in the Final Fantasy VII games. Which is also why you'll notice I have no throws, really.
Oh, yeah.
I have like throw on attack or something like that. Because this is action compression, I didn't want to also give the characters throws.
That makes sense.
Because that felt like too much action compression. You'll also notice very little charge. I think we only have like one hit and run. There's very little. Oh no, we don't even have a hit and run. Very little action compression on the team because of the ability of the materia.
Okay. And then lastly, he has the only one with a gun, which allows him to reroll any number of dice, including skulls, when attacking characters with flight.
Yeah, that doesn't come into play as often as you'd think. But when it does, it's like it again changes the way that your opponent plays. That's a big thing that Barrett is, because he's big base, range 5 as his base attack. A lot of what he does changes the way your opponent plays when he's like they don't want to set up the flights. They don't want to set up their Superman against Barrett. No, Barret will shoot him out of the sky. Sure, it might not hurt the most, but Barret will still do it. Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and start checking out the bulk of the team now.
Yeah,
Starting
sure.
with,
Who do you want to?
probably the most famous character here, Cloud.
Yeah, Cloud is the most famous character and the first one I made. Before I even made the leaders, I made Cloud.
Yeah.
Cloud has the big sword. Range 3, 5 dice, gain power for damage, and whenever he deals damage, he can deal another one to an enemy character with a 2 of himself. So it's a cleave. You're doing a straight cut.
Yeah.
He is a 5 threat and a very weak 5 threat back. Not not weak attack, weak health. He has the same defensive stat line as our 4 threats, who are okay for 4 threat stat lines for defense.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a lot when it comes to being defensive, because that's not Cloud's thing. He's gonna be out there, he's gonna be attacking. That's like the main thing. Then we have Omni Slash, which, because of its 8 power cost, usually doesn't happen, but is an homage to his ultimate attack and allows him to, in theory, get 8 attacks off in a row. This attack is especially good when you have hammers, because the requirement for the trigger is a shield. So anything that gives him extra dice, anything that gives him extra dice, or anything like that will be very nice for this attack. If he has 2 enemies, he can bounce between them, because he cannot repeat a target twice in a row. So he has to keep getting the shield results. It has a limit of 8, because Omni Slash was an 8 sword attack. So the main purpose of that is an homage. It is also, it's pretty sick. I've gotten off like 1 time before, and it didn't decimate everyone, but it did do a lot. Like it helped quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a very interesting
Then we,
there.
yeah. Then we have Braver. On a wild, he changes 2 results. He does a double pierce, right? 7 dice. It costs 2 power with a double pierce on a wild. This is one to compensate for the fact that his other attacks don't have much going on. Like Cleave and Slash are neat, but they don't hurt a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Braver is the attack that, I need to get damage out? Cool, this is what I'm going to do to get damaged out on this single time. To help with his survivability, he has Lightning, which allows him to apply Shock, which makes it easier for him to survive their attacks against him afterwards.
Okay, that's his materia.
Yeah, that's his materia of choice. Because it's also the one that he starts the game with. I tried to correlate people's materia to both their playstyle and also what they begin when you get them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Mako Blood. He's a super soldier. This is just sort of a thing he has that allows him to gain more power. 5 threat, whenever he would gain power, he gains an additional power. This allows him to get to Omni Slash actually pretty quickly. Commonly, I will have Cloud capped off at 10 power.
Oh, yeah.
Because he gains 2 power a turn now. Whenever he deals damage, he gains an additional power. Whenever he takes a hit, he gains an additional power. Anything that will give him power, give him an additional one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then Soldier Reflexes. This used to be essentially a better martial arts, but it has since been changed to 1 hit counts as a result for success always whenever he's having it. This allows him to count 1 extra success in hopes of getting some extra tankiness in there.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Arch Nemesis Sephiroth. If any of you have ever played the games, Cloud famously will focus down Sephiroth and lose control of whatever else he's doing. So I felt the most thematic way, especially in MCP, to do this was to use the Arch Nemesis mechanic, which is kind of not being used anymore and does take up a chunk on his card, but I feel it is fitting enough.
Mm-hmm.
Cloud also changes on his backside. I don't know how we wish to represent that or later.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and pull out the full version of the card here. We'll just go ahead and bring out all the people who we still want to
Yeah.
look at.
And you try to let it load.
Oh, and that. Oh, but we can still at least flip the card. So let's
Yeah.
take a look at the backside.
Yep. Oh, damn. Yeah. So his backside, the main thing that changes is he changes his soldier reflexes for his concerning visions, which makes it so that in attack and defense rolls, he always counts one blank. This is again just some consistency. It helps him in defense and attack now, making him just that tiny more scary, little bit scarier whenever you are attacking into him or being attacked by him.
All right.
He doesn't do everything in the world, but it does make him just that small amount scarier. Because he's a fight threat, he should be at least a little scary.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next card here.
Kate Seth, this is one of my favorites. Because of just the silly goofiness and the randomness of it. He's one of the only characters with a throw, and he has a build. He's, first of all, a 4 threat. He's slow on that medium base, just like Barrett is. Because a character who's slow on a small base sucks. Like, just not being able to get anywhere on the battlefield. And also, another big person. Mm-hmm. M phone is the first item you get, and it allows you to throw them away small if they're size 2 or less wild, which means you're going to be throwing away most of the time like grunts or just like normal sized people. Most characters are size 2 or less, but it's still like you're not going to be throwing kaijus and stuff like that with Kate Sith. What you will be doing is using Trumpet Shell, which gives you only 1 power, has range 4, and allows you to push a character towards you small. This is like, because what the Trumpet Shell usually does is it draws characters in, like it just pulls them in. So I was like, oh, I'll just push them small. Come closer. Then we have Dice, which is Kate Sith's main sort of gimmick. 4 power, 8 dice, range 3. If he gets 3 of any result other than blanks, he gets to do a thing. He only has 8 dice to do it, but he gets to do a thing. One of these things is bad for him. So let's just go down the list. HP shot. He heals someone else 3. Himself or an allied character within 3. Neat. 3 wilds. He walks this character, and the target character. Medium.
Oh,
doesn't matter what direction. You just dance away. Hell House. So if you get 3 shields, you give them Hex and Incinerate. Because it's usually you trap them in a house and it like burns down the demon inside of it. Is what it is. 3 hits, you throw them medium. You have to get 3 hits to do it. 3 skulls, Kate Sith gains stagger.
Okay.
So it's a goofy thing, but also it's fitting with Kate Sith. It's a risk and reward. If you think your luck's going to be really bad, probably don't do it. You have other things to spend power on. But you know, it has good enough effects that I think the possibility of giving himself stagger balances that out a little bit. Then his material is quick, which gives stun as the ability it gives. And then he has rigged dice, which allows him to reroll dice.
Oh, okay.
He spent power to do it, but allows him to reroll his results. And then if he rolls at least one skull, he gains a power. It's
right.
just all man. He has his luck thing, and then his things that help him trigger his luck thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is mostly his card is built around dice. Everything else sort of comes out of that shell.
Interesting. It's one of those
Yeah.
situations where sometimes you might even consider re-rolling successes on a dice roll
Mm-hmm.
just to try to get a result.
Yeah.
All right. So
Right.
next, looks like we have the Sector 7 crew.
Yeah. These are the new guys. I was like, I had done the other 9 of the characters. I was like, I need to make a 10th character. I don't like leaving affiliations with only 9 characters or like less. So I was like, what character can I make? And I make the Sector 7 crew. Anyone who's played the games knows these guys. They're the 3 from Sector 7. Biggs, Jesse, and Wedge join you on your first mission in the game. And I was like, okay, how do I do something here? So I made a card that is a mix between Wrecking Crew and Crystal. Is, I guess, the best way it could be seen, right?
Okay.
You have the Biggs or gun, which is a beam 4, and on hits, gives him shock. Pretty simple. You have Jesse's readings. It's an energy attack, which is nice, because this affiliation is lacking in anything outside of, so it gives them something else. Range 3, 5 dice. If they have shock, you can give them hex. Wonderful. And then wedge between. Range 2, 5 dice. So the range is slowly decreasing. If they have hex, you can remove that and deal 1 to every character within 2.
Oh, okay. So you've got this kind of theoretical chain going where you give them shock with one
Theoretical.
attack, hex with another attack, and then get that hex to deal damage to
Off and
everybody.
then deal damage. Yeah.
Interesting.
They have 4 Avalanche, which allows them to make a third attack if they have 3 power. And then they have high score. This is not for them. I want that to be said. This ability isn't for them and is very niche and works pretty much within affiliation only. It does also work a little bit per crisis, but whenever an allied character within 2 will roll dice for a superpower or crisis card, this character may use this power to change one result to a wild. This can only be used once per turn. So
Interesting.
this allows you to secure some pay to flips. This allows you. The main thing it's used for, though, is those materia abilities.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
All right. Now we
Yeah.
have Tifa.
Yeah. Tifa. Tifa Lockhart. Everyone loves Tifa Lockhart. She is 4435 as a full. So again, something you'll be noticing is a lot of these guys are kind of squishy. But 4435, and with her defensive abilities, she is fine most of the time. With padded hands, she runs in and punches people a lot. So this allows her to inflict stun, and is sort of just a generally good builder.
Mm-hmm.
Then her second ability is sluts. I originally had a really convoluted idea for, but I just settled on getting as many wilds as possible. Because in game it's a slot machine, and you get whatever your random result is, like what level of limit you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, how do I make this feel right in the game? So 7 dice, 4 power, 7 dice, range 3. 1 wild, you just place yourself within 1 of them. Neat. 2 wilds, if they're size 2 or less, you throw them. 3 wilds, you get another double pierce. And 4 wilds, each of your wilds adds 1 damage.
Ooh.
So if you ever get to that mythical 4 wilds, you're doing a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think I've ever gotten that. And I have playtested Avalanche a lot. I playtested Tifa specifically a lot. I don't think I've ever gotten 4 wilds on this attack. Because it's 7 dice. It's gonna be hard. It's possible.
Yeah.
It's very possible. But it's gonna be difficult to get them. Right. Then her materia of choice is ice, which allows her to inflict slow. So it's partially, she's a long move. It allows her to make it so people don't run away from her. Because Tifa's very prone to, if you run away from her, can't really do anything. If you spend your whole turn getting away from her, she can't do much.
Yeah.
Then there's high crit chance, which is meant to be in a combination with slots, or spending 7 power for a 7-die attack. She's the owner of 7th Heaven. It's a gimmick, it's a bit of a meme, but also it's a good ability, allowing you to your next attack roll 2 dice instead of 1 for each crit. It allows you to possibly get those mythical wilds. Then she has a counter, which allows her to punch back, essentially. If after an attack's made against her, she can spend 2 power to hit him back with padded hands. It's only a 5-die attack, so often she doesn't gain the power back. But sometimes she'll do some damage or gain counter back. You can only use once each turn, you know. Then we have Student of Zygon, which is her defensive ability. It works like martial arts, except instead of counting blanks, it counts hits. Because I didn't want to just use martial artists. That's legit the reason. I was just like, I want to do something neat.
Alright, then next up we have Yuffie.
Yuffie. Yuffie's been sort of contentious. She's a very strong 3.
Alright, well, let's see what makes her such a strong 3.
Yeah. So, range 2, 5 dice, slash, it has bleed. You're almost never using this. It's mainly there if you want to be gaining more power than 1. Right, but most of the time you're not using it. Much like Deadpool, most of the time doesn't use stab because he has bang. Yuffie is almost never using slash. Then we have Shuriken, which is the thing you're using a lot of the time. It's range 4, 4 dice, gives you 1 power, and has a weird sort of rebound. Instead of range 3 of the person you targeted, it's range 3 of you. It throw it out, and then it acts like a boomerang when it comes back to you. So you'll usually, if you're positioning yourself well, or if you're even within range 3 of the target, you're usually like doing some decent damage with this. It's usually not a lot, it's only 4 dice, but you're usually like gaining power and doing the thing you want to do. Then we have Doom of the Living. This is her spender. This is sort of the thing you build up power for. Well, one of the 2 things you build up power for. It can be either physical or mystic. Doom of the Living is usually an attack from like the ghosts of ancestors past. So I was like, I'll make it puzzly.
Okay, I can see
it
that.
Has, if you roll a hit and a shield, you make a shuriken attack. Yeah. And then on a wild, the target loses power for each wild. You're only rolling 6 dice. It's not often you're doing that. But the main thing is, if you get the shuriken, which is honestly, it's gonna happen quite often. Hit and shields are the most common results. So it's gonna happen more often than you think. Previously, this ability had a rapid fire for Doom of the Living. So you could possibly make 4 attacks with 1 attack, and I was like, that's a little much. Oh, no, sorry, 6. It was possibly 6 attacks with 1, which is a little bit of a lot. Especially with how easy the triggers would have been. So, yeah, if you roll a hit and a shield, you can make a shuriken attack. Can be against the same one, doesn't have to be. And then the shuriken can get boomerang. So you can get 3 attacks off of if you're lucky. Not even if you're super lucky. You're going to be most of the time getting 3 attacks. And that's one of the things that makes her quite strong. Her main thing is her steal. Right? Steal is always a strong. Just being able to take an asset from someone is very good. Yuffie has Materia Thief. In the game, the way you meet her is she's stealing your party's materia. She's a ninja, she runs around, that's kind of her deal. So, spend 4 power, which is more costly than most thievery, and there's a reason for that. Cost an action, choose an enemy character within 1, move one of their assets to her, She's now holding it. She cannot hold more than the price is specified. Then she advances small.
Okay.
So she has a
She
long
just gets
move,
to get a
and
little
she's
bit of distance away.
yeah, that's kind of what the extra power is there for, is that extra little boost of distance. This does make it so that she can Materia Thief small and then long. She has Wall Crawler, so she can run away with your materia, with your assets really easily. But most of the time she has to be within one of you to do that, so you can move once and be able to hit her, unless like positioning just wasn't on your side or something.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure most, if not every character with a thievery ability has a long. I think the only one who doesn't is Toad, and Toad just got his thievery ability.
Oh, I didn't
So
look that close at the new Toad card.
yeah, the new Toad card moves medium and has a thievery.
Interesting.
But he also has Hop. He also has the thing where if you hit him, he bounces farther away. Like, so, but yeah, that's sort of the big contentious thing with Yuffie is that materia thief.
Mm-hmm.
Then she has Sleeple and Stealth as well. Sleeple is her materia that does root, and then she has Stealth. Everyone kind of knows Stealth. You got to do within range 3 to hit her. It's the annoying ninja thing,
And
but it
she's a
is,
wall crawler.
and she's a wall crawler, so she's got a lot for a 3. But she has 5 health, and her weak defense is physical, which is the most common attack type in the game.
Mm-hmm.
She's not doing a lot of damage with her attacks. Yeah, she's making a lot of them, but she's not going to be doing a lot of damage with.
All right. With that, we come to Vincent.
Vincent. Vincent is the vampire character you get in the Final Fantasy game. He's a character who you are not guaranteed to get, just like Yuffie. And as such, other than Cloud, of course. 6, 4, 3, 4. So he has an additional health, and he's a vampire. So we'll get to all his vampire ability, but keep that in mind. Range 3, 6 dice. On a wild, he gives bleed or poison. Pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's his Quicksilver Revolver. It allows you to apply some conditions. Then he can spend 2 for death penalty, which is his sniper rifle he gets. Range 5, 6 dice. It allows him to get pursuit and bleed. Pretty simple. And then hell masking, range 2, 5 dice, 5 power, 8 dice. If the target character has the bleed condition, this character may reroll any number of attack dice. So again, he's a vampire. Applying that bleed is so nice for him. Additionally, all characters within 3 of the target character gain the bleed special condition. That includes yourself. It's just everyone. That includes allies and yourself. So this is another way to like get a nice mass bleed. Though often because Vincent is naturally so far away and uses death penalty a lot of the time, you won't get close enough for hell masking. But if someone does get if you do get close enough, and if you focus on doing stuff like this, it can be devastating.
And what is meant to be the timing on that bleed special condition ability?
It's meant to be after the first one. So it's like the idea isn't it's guaranteed that you're going to be rerolling all your dice. It's meant to be if they have the bleed, reroll any number of attack dice, and then I guess I should put after the attack is resolved.
Yeah.
All characters over 3.
Okay.
I should tweak that. That's the idea, though. Is after the attack is resolved, everyone within 3 of that target gains bleed, including the target because it is within 3 of itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, but usually you're going to be wanting to hit someone already had that reroll. Then Assess is his materia, which allows him to apply Hex, which is a scary special condition, which is why I gave it to the fight. Then we have King of the Manor, which allows him to, after he deals damage, after an attack he made is resolved, he can pay 2 and advance small. This is his pseudo movement ability. It's sort of on a stick. You have to make attacks. You have to be doing things to contribute to the game and gaining power for them to be able to move around with him. But he can do it to a certain extent. Then there's Pure Blood. I didn't give him immunity to bleed because we see him bleeding. He did heal very quickly, but we saw him bleed. So I made it so that being in cleanup phase, if he has bleed, he gains power and removes the damage and all special conditions on himself. So
Okay.
that's why Hell Masking applies bleed to himself. Also, if someone's attacks just happen to apply bleed, it's very nice for him, actually. Then the Vampiric Immortality, he's a vampire. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
At the end of his activation, he gains 1 power and removes 1 damage for each other character within 2 that has bleed.
Is that taken directly from Blade's card?
I believe I ripped that directly from its card.
Yeah. All right. Well, with the vampire done, we've got 2 left. Oh no, yeah, 2 left.
2 more. Yep.
We got Red 13.
Yep. Red 13. He's a street threat, and everyone kind of knows Red. He's Nanaki. You find him as he's being experimented on, and he's a wonderful ally to Avalanche. Firefang, he applies Incinerate and it's just his builder attack. Beautiful. And then Stardust Ray is his spender, area 2, 6 dice. After each attack is resolved, each enemy character within 2 of the target character gains Incinerate, and also on a wild he does Shock. So
Ooh, Shock and Incinerate. Spicy.
yeah, spicy. He does apply these sort of conditions. He applies a lot, partially because his materia doesn't apply a condition. His materia is a little special. Both these 2 here at the end have materia that aren't normal. Then we have Era, which is materia of choice, which if he deals damage, lets him place the target within 1 of himself. It's a bump, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you get that on like a character with a big base, you just float them away. It's gonna hurt those characters with big bases.
Okay.
And then for survivability, because he's I just want to splash something extra in there. HP absorb. He can spend 3 power after the attack he makes his resolve to remove an amount of damage equal to damage dealt. This is because he has life steal on like all of his attacks in the game, and I wanted to show that somehow.
Okay.
Then MP absorb. After an attack this character makes his resolve, character uses superpower. He gains 1 power. It can only be used once each turn. It's sort of just a way to give him some level of efficiency. And he has immunity to incinerate because he's a dog who's on fire. I don't imagine him getting lit on fire anytime soon.
All right, that makes sense to me. Alrighty, and then we have
Aerith.
Aerith.
This is Aerith. We love Aerith. Aerith is a 3 threat. She has 5 health, 3/3/4. Then there is light magic. Deal damage. If she rolls a wild, she gains a power. Simple. Right. And then her second attack is her spender. It might not look like it because it costs 0, but during the pay power step, for each additional power you spend, you add a dice to the attack.
Oh, okay. Up to 6.
And then, based off the amount of dice you roll, you can give the target a different condition after the attack is resolved. If you go up to 5 dice, you give them root. Go up to 7, they get stun. Go up to 9, you give them stagger. So if you spend 6 power, you will do the attack, and after it's resolved, they will get the stagger special condition.
Wow, an auto stagger.
Yeah. The thing is, she's not doing that. It's possible, right? If you are dumping power into her, it's very possible. But people aren't gonna let you. Aerith is a healer. That's kind of her main goal as well. With Restore, her special thing. Unlike the other materia, this is choose an allied character for. Roll 4 dice, then it's crit, wild, and hit. They remove a damage for each one of those you get. I have had several times where I spend 3 power and heal someone none. Because it's possible with Restore. Because I wanted to make her materia neat, but also not busted. It's very easily possible that you get 4 successes, but that's not what most of the time you're going to be healing someone like 2.
Yeah.
Then there's Asuna, which allows her to choose someone within range 3 and remove a conditional. It costs her 2 power, but allows her to help her friends on that removing of the conditions.
All right.
Then we get to her.
Real quick, just
Okay.
make a note to yourself that you need to fix Asuna there. You don't actually have the
Yes.
word remove.
Oh, good to know. Then plot device. If you've played Final Fantasy VII, you know what I'm referring to. If you have not, I'm sorry. I'm going to spoil the game that came out years ago. Aerith dies and is used like a plot device a lot, like all of the time. So I put it into her card. She also changes on her backside, so when we flip that, I'll show you how much more it changes. But when this character's days, all allied characters in 3 gain a power.
Okay.
This is to help with the fact that the enemy team is going to be trying to kill it. Because if they don't, then she's just healing your whole team.
Mm-hmm.
So this is sort of to help that fact. Additionally, Slum Slayer Girl, she can reroll defense dice for each enemy character within 2. And then White Mage. This is a ability that I plan to add to more characters in the Final Fantasy series, making more characters in Final Fantasy games. She's a White Mage. Whenever an allied character heals, she gains a power. She can only gain 1 this way from each allied effect each turn.
Oh, okay. That's an
So,
interesting one.
yeah, it means if you do actually get that heal off and restore, it sort of reduces the cost a little bit. It also means if your other characters somehow heal, like Vincent healing, you gain power.
Mm-hmm.
Like Red 13 healing, you gain power. Like the splashes we'll bring up later, healing, you gain some power, right? It's just a way for her to get some of that power gain going. Because she needs it. She's a very power hungry character.
Mm-hmm.
Then on her backside, plot device changes to 2 power. That's the only difference.
Oh, okay.
But essentially, it's just like if you keep hurting Aerith, she will keep giving power to allies who isolate her from her team. Which there are some characters who can easily do, but that needs to happen. Your team to not gain a benefit once they kill Aerith.
Yeah. Now, one thing I've learned from doing this video is that we should maybe go over the cards really quickly beforehand. But plot device, you need
Yeah,
to change that to KO'd on this side because she's never
wonderful.
going to get dazed again.
That's true. Apologies.
Oh no,
Yeah,
it's
I should
just
probably go over the
totally
cards.
yeah.
Upload the cards.
No, it's just
Yeah.
something This is the experimental video. I appreciate
Yay.
everyone watching to realize that. So let's a bit more briefly. Let's just go over why
Yeah.
you chose some of these splashes.
Yeah. So, let's. Sorry, I didn't mean that. The splashes like Crash. I don't see Doctor Cortex here, but he was here early. Oh, there he is. Crash and Doctor Cortex are mainly there for if you're playing Sid. Because they really care about objectives.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you're planning on playing a Sid team, Doctor Cortex, he cares about like being on objectives. He can place objectives near him, and he has some defensive stuff, but his main goal is objectives.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Crash has the he can't get stolen ability with hammer space, so he's really nice for that reason as well.
Okay.
Um, and then I'll go over Codsworth. Codsworth has the ability to heal, which is really nice if you're running Aerith, which you want to be doing all the time.
So yeah, it's
Um,
a little booster for Aerith.
mm-hmm. And also, that's sort of the main thing with Codsworth is he's a booster for Aerith, who you want to have power. Also, he's a decent two threat. He's not a horrible two threat. You're not going to be upset taking Codsworth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you can give more damage reduction if you're running like Barret, for example. Um, Again, for Sid, Little Sister is giving so much power with that living reactor ability. she can just give a lot of power to a character.
Oh, okay, yeah, I
This can
can see
be
that.
for any of our power hungry characters, really.
Mm.
Because that's the thing with the affiliation. Because their action compression is 2, and like all that's all everyone's, but still. Her being able to spend an action to give someone a shit ton of power is very nice.
Yeah, I can see that.
Sorry, I zoomed out. Then Fallon. Fallon's a good 4th red. She also works as a battery, Aerith, but also can teleport our slower members. Like, she can teleport Barret closer to the enemies. So, like, Party Port and some Maimana are, like, her 2 main things you're going to be using her. The rest is very useful, but that's the main purpose she's here. The main reason why she's on it. And then Murray. Murray benefits a lot from Barret's leadership. Because she's already kind of tanky. So just giving him that extra little punch. He also has a place ability, so he can place an allied character like Sid to trigger Sid's dynamite with Getaway Driver. He has a throw, which is very nice. Like, because if you clear stuff off the battlefield, then your opponents can't.
Mm.
And this team doesn't like throws being thrown into them sometimes. So Murray is here because he really, really is great under Barrett's leadership.
Okay, and the healing factor is another way of getting more power
Exactly.
to Aerith.
Aerith. Yeah.
All right, now last, let's talk about the crises that you're shooting for. Like, what do you think are the
Yeah.
best crises for these?
In my opinion, I have chosen the top 3 from each one. In my opinion, they're here for several reasons. But Montesi formula. Your team doesn't have a lot outside of physical,
Yeah.
right? The team really does a lot of physical attacks and a lot of nothing else. So having either the Montesi formula or the new one that does an energy attack is very nice.
I can see
It
that, yeah.
doesn't matter which one, as long as it's one of them. Just having a beam, some sort of attack, you're gonna be wanting to run like, yeah. So that's a very good one, right? As mentioned earlier, hammers. Every team benefits from hammers. First off, second off, your team benefits a lot from it. For
Mm-hmm.
Aerith, you have to spend less power because the amount of dice rolled. For Red 13, you gain more health. You can hit your triggers on a lot of your characters easier because they just have more dice to hit the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the hammer's always great. And your tactic cards usually aren't played unless they're played by like your power batteries, right?
Uh,
Then Deadly Legacy Virus. This is partially if you bring this is partially for Dr. Cortex, because Neo Cortex works really well with Deadly Legacy Virus, because he can just sit in between all 3 of them. And he will be considered a hold.
okay.
And then he'll explode and give you a bunch of victories. Then there's Deadline to Destruction. Detonation Consoles allows for even more of that action compression. It also allows for, if you don't have Yuffie on your team, it kills Yuffie, you to play objectives, because this team's a very attrition-focused team.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to play those objectives just a little easier is nice. Then more battery stuff, Riot Extremist consoles, heals. It's also good for if they kill Aerith, you can still have some healing. You still have someone to cover that damage. Then portals. Wait. Never mind. This is not portals. I thought it was. The slot you want here is portals. Which is the blue crises that allows you to teleport between any of the 3 of them.
Uh-huh.
Because your team, the heavy hitters in your team are generally kind of slow. So being able to get across the battlefield easier is always really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And also, those portals require die roll triggers, that you can sort of manipulate with people like Sector 7, and stuff like that.
All right, then let's go ahead. I forgot about the tactic cards. Let's go ahead and go over them
Yeah,
real quick here.
this is
Barrack
not
Ultima.
everyone's. This is not everyone's because the roster builder doesn't let you build outside of 10. But this is some pretty good ones. Barrett's Ultima. This um this is the weird one. Apologies. Because Satellite Beam is supposed to. Yeah, some of the naming is tweaked around, but it's the same basic idea. Tactic card, spend 3 power, you get an energy attack, which is nice. And it's a range 5, 6 dice that has rebound for anyone who has not been targeted,
Oh,
I
okay.
believe.
So if
So you can just sort of. And also, it's his final limit, which is it's his final limit and his item. All of the tactic cards, not all, most of the tactic cards for the characters are their weapon or like their ultimate weapon of choice.
okay, now we have Blow It.
Blow it! This is another way for the team to deal with those pesky, pesky, pesky terrain features. During our Avalanche character's activation, spend 4 power to blow something up size 2 or greater. And deals you 2 damage to each enemy character within 2 of them. It's a demolition ability. It's thematic for Avalanche. They are blowing up reactors. That's like the first disc of the game is just blowing up reactors.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'll do that.
Now Conformer.
Conformer, this is a way for Yuffie to deal with bigger threats, right? Because a lot of times she's doing crowd control. So this is a way for her to like hurt someone more. During the next attack action, this character makes this round at a number of dice equal to the target character's threat. Let's say threat value, but the point stands.
Yeah.
You gain a bunch of dice. Um, then we have Galleon Beast. This is a way to sort of represent, because Vincent as a character is very hard to represent in the game. This is my way of representing his limit, which is him transforming into a beast. And also it works with his card because he's applying so many special conditions. He gets to add dice for each special condition within 3 of him. So if you're working in like say Legion of Doom, Vincent actually works really good in Legion of Doom because of the conditions he can apply.
Mm-hmm.
This is also a good card to take if you're taking Vincent in Legion of Doom.
All right.
Then we have Venus Gospel, which is Sid's tactic card. To run around, this character will be placed or advanced. By another effect, this character may place itself within 1. It allows Sid to gain more play, which allows him to trigger Dynamite more. That's the whole goal of this. Is just allowing it also lets him move farther. He's on a smaller base, but it lets him move a little farther.
All right.
That's the idea behind that. Then there's Ultimate Weapon, which is getting a tweak here. It's getting a nerf, so you can't trigger it turn 1. So it's going to cost 3 power in the future, I believe, instead of 2. But spend 3 power, make a Clim Hazard attack, which loses a dice for each damage Cloud has taken. So it's normally 9 dice, but for each damage Cloud has taken, it loses 1. It ignores stealth, and he places himself within 1 person. Because Cloud like jumps across the battlefield and does Clim Hazards at enemies all of the time. So I wanted a way to represent that without putting it directly on his card, because it would be very, very good on his card.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'll make it a tactic card. I'll make it something you just play.
All right.
Moogle Nudge. This is, I think, the only one of the team's character ones that isn't a weapon. This is for Kate Sith. He can spend amount of power to change a die to either a hit, wild, shield, and it can modify skull results this way. This allows you to hit your triggers. That's the whole point. It allows you to hit those pesky triggers a little. Not like the really good ones, like it doesn't let you make things into crits.
Mm-hmm.
But and like sometimes you might want to change things to shields to
Yeah.
get less damage but get the effect. Then we have Premium Heart, which is when an allied Tifa character is attacking, if I dice step, and 2 to count every skull as a wild. This is another way to get some of those triggers going off. Just something to give her more of that damage output, but it's an attack card. You can only use it once. Simple. Um, and then Princess Guard, which is Aerith's ability. It's there because they're not going to be killing Aerith that often, so Aerith should be able to do something about it. Um, and this lets you add a bunch of dice to an attack you're making against the target, which also lets you do Seal Evil for cheaper. So, yeah.
Interesting. And then lastly,
Lastly, but definitely not leastly, this team is attrition focused, so I wanted to give them something to benefit from attrition focus. With Ultimate Materia Hunter, whenever an allied Avalanche character dazes or KOs an enemy character, they can spend 3 power to play this card. Character gains Ultimate token. At the beginning of the cleanup step, if that character has the Ultimate token, remove it and gain 2 victory points. An allied Avalanche character may use the interact ability to pick it up. So, you're not going to be able to use this until you're beat up most of the time, at least a little bit.
mm-hmm.
But you spend the 3 power, you get it. Has to be an Avalanche character do it, so you can't have like Hulk do it. Or Crash, even though Crash would love to be doing this. And then if they don't daze you in time, you gain victory. It's just simple as that. It gives you a benefit for playing attrition.
Mm-hmm.
In the point sector, because that is sort of the main thing of the game, even if this team doesn't believe that. Yeah, this is the 10 slots. I didn't put patch up in here because I wanted to show off more cards, but
Uh-huh.
usually you'd want to grab patch up because it's good. Usually you'd want to grab brace because it's good. They're restricted for a reason. um, but yeah, so yeah, that's the main theme. Apologies.
No, not at all. Thank you very much. I think that was a thorough going over and a good first
Yeah,
try at this video concept.
yeah,
I want to thank Improv DM for being our guinea
hmm
pig and
of course.
and coming up with the idea.
Yeah. Also, in the comments, ask away any questions you have. I watch all the videos, so I can most likely hop in the comments and answer any questions you got.
Yeah,
I really like Avalanche. I think they're a well done team, and I generally just think it's good to have an affiliation that everyone kind of enjoys. I
yeah,
made Dungeon Meshi as well, and I don't think I've seen anyone like you feel the Dungeon Meshi card. Like even in their 10.
yeah. I mean,
So
it's a pretty niche concept. Like I had
yeah,
to go looking up
yeah,
stuff.
that's fair. So yeah, um,
But someday there's
this
gonna
is
be
the
someone loading up the mod. They're like, "Oh my God, Dungeon Menshi's in
Dungeon
here! This is
Meshi.
awesome!"
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
as
that's kind of my
important for the
hope.
mod as trying to get super famous stuff in, is getting that niche stuff
Hmm.
in there that people, some people love.
Yeah.
But to everyone who tuned in, I want to thank you very much. Tune in next week for another one of these, featuring either me or Clockwork Cuttlefishes, one of our affiliations. And
Very happy.
come join our Discord. There'll be a link in the description. And have
Yep.
a great night, everybody.